This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community College, and my guests today are John and Mark Benigni, and in case you didn't know, they are brothers, and they're sitting right opposite me, and they were born in Meriden, they work in Meriden. Do you ever leave the town, John?
On occasion.
On occasion.
I have 4 children, so I traveling too far is always a challenge. So I try to stay as close to Meriden as possible at this point. But on occasion we venture out of Meriden. But Meriden is my home, and that's where I
and the
I try to
the
support.
two brothers have this competitive thing going, and you John have 4 children, and you Mark have only 2. There's work to be done.
I have 2. I figured I had to let him beat me at something, so I'm letting him win this one.
Okay. Now,
I don't know if that's a win or not.
and your 4 include twins, I gather.
Yes. Me and my wife 18 months ago had twin boys, and it did come as quite a shock. We were planning on having the twins do not run in my family, they do not run in my wife's family, and I was actually away at a YMCA conference, and my wife called
that may
me
explain it.
and said, honey, I'm like, is everything all right? She's like, everything's all right with the 2 of them. So that's how I got the word over the phone that we were having twins. But
Oh my goodness!
If he did it right the first time, we wouldn't have had these
Now,
problems.
who started the parenting thing first? You did, John?
Actually, yes, I did. Yes. I have
And
a
so
6-year-old daughter, so 2 years older than Mark's oldest.
And in all fairness, there is a third brother, but he lives outside Meriden, so he doesn't count. What does he
You've
do?
been talking to my parents?
We'll get on to that later.
He's the assistant superintendent in Berlin, and Brian, of course, counts. And he has 3 children himself and happily married.
Okay. Well, you have parents. I mean, I cannot imagine being the parents of the 3. Well, I haven't met the third brother, but I cannot imagine being the parents of. Do we publicly on the radio express sympathy for your parents?
You probably should.
Yeah, I think so. Well, this is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, and we'll be back. This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community College, and my guests today are John and Mark Benigni, 2 of the 3 Benigni brothers. The third brother works outside Meriden, so he doesn't count. We've agreed, right?
No, we agreed that he still counts.
Oh, okay.
Just not as much.
Clearly, these 2 brothers do want to have some kind of relationship with a third brother. But, you know, it's interesting. We were talking about how your parents brought you up in Meriden. You're both working in Meriden. There's obviously a commitment to the town of Meriden. What is it about Meriden that makes it a special place to live in, to work in? John?
I think it's people, and I really think Meriden has great people, and supportive people, and people that would be willing to give of their time and their talents and their treasure. And Meriden is, we can make a difference, and I like Meriden because I can make a difference in Meriden, and I believe in it. It's been supportive of me. It's my family. I'm growing. I have 4 children, like I said before, and they're now participating in Meriden schools and activities. And
They go to your brother's schools? That's high risk, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But I guess I know someone at the top. So,
So you've been working for the YMCA for how long?
well, I've been executive director of the YMCA for 3 years now, and I've worked in some capacity for the Y straight through college. So since I was 16 years old, so it's about 15 years now.
Some fool hired him years ago.
Yeah, one of my first
understand.
boss was my brother here, Mark. he was working at the Y at the time and hired me to run some sport programs.
Okay, we'll investigate that later. In what way is the Y going to be different for your having been there, whether you're there for 3 years or 10 years or 50? In what way is the Y going to be different when you're done?
Yeah, I mean...
And Mark, since you're a bit slow, prepare for the same kind of question.
There you go, Mark. See?
John, in what way is the Y going to be
Well, I believe
different?
to have the Y at the highest standards. And I want to say to my staff, if I wanted to give out free memberships to the Y, we wouldn't need to have the cleanest facility or the nicest facility. They would just come and do it. But I want to raise the standards. I want to have the highest bar and make sure that across the board we're hitting that bar. And really inspire people to raise all their standards, because I'm always trying to do better. No matter what we're doing, we're always trying to better. The greatest thing about me with the Y is that, just the other day I saw two members, and I knew that one owns a company locally in town, and this probably makes millions of dollars and things like that. And another gentleman that he was walking with and talking to, I know personally, I scholarshiped or gave him a percentage off of his membership to come to the Y. And there they are talking business or Y shop or whatever you want to call it in the same hallway. So it brings the community together. And those two individuals would never meet and never have an opportunity to communicate if it wasn't for.
So how many members do you have?
We have about 6,000 members.
And the population of Meriden is
About 52, 55?
No, it's a little more. It's almost 60,000.
Almost 60 now. Wow.
So your membership is just over 10% of the population of Meriden. That's a lot, isn't it?
I think there's room for more. I think there's room for more.
Well, and clearly another 90%.
But I mean, it is a lot. We're proud of our membership base. In addition to that, I mean, we also offer 3 different childcare sites, from infants and toddlers to preschool to after-school sites. So we partnership with the Board of Education on our after-school sites. We also have a 60-acre day camp where we have 350-plus kids out there for 4 different sessions of camp. So, I mean, really my focus at the Y is wherever there's a community need, the Y needs to be in line to try to fill it.
So we have a lot of people listening who maybe don't live in Meriden. Why would someone drive, let's say, 45 minutes to come to your Y? What do you have that's?
I think they're gonna find a welcoming place first, and I think they're gonna find a clean, neat, and professionally run organization at the Meriden Y.
And the normal, what would it cost them?
Approximately for a membership, it'd be $40 a month for a single adult membership, and that includes the full use of the facility. We have a swimming pool,
and
indoor
if people
track,
think
sauna.
that there's a train in the background, there is a train in the background.
Yes,
as we speak, we're in the center of Meriden.
Yes, we are, and so that's full use of the facility, including use of our day camp in the summer too, which is 60 acres. It sits on the Wallingford-Middlefield line. A beautiful piece of property, actually not far from Mark's house, actually.
So, well, a party at Mark's house as soon as we're
go,
done.
Yes.
So if somebody is interested in the Y and maybe doesn't quite have the money, they should call you up and discuss that.
We turn no one away for inability to pay. No one's away. And we run a community campaign every year to raise funds to assure that we don't turn anyone away. This past Thanksgiving and now moving into the Christmas season here, we offer a holiday meal at the YMCA in our gymnasium, and it's a community dinner. We raise the money throughout the community to offer a warm meal on the holidays for the less.
So anyone who'd like to explore the Y in Meriden, call the Y at some reasonable hour, not 3 a.m, I guess.
Yeah. Anytime they like to come and explore the Y, we'll have a free pass for them waiting at the front desk.
Do you have a website?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
www.meridenymca.org.
meridenymca.org.
Yep.
Even I can remember that. Now, let's talk to the superintendent.
It's quite a commercial the Y guy did.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well,
I want to see your commercial in the Board of Education.
We're going to give you equal time. You've been superintendent of schools in the schools that you went to,
Yes.
actually, which must feel odd. I mean, you must have people working in the schools that you had as a teacher.
Yes,
as a student.
that is, yes, definitely. People who taught me are still working in our school system, and many of them still doing a terrific job.
Well, they somehow educated you, so they must be doing something.
There's
right.
some that I haven't went back and visited yet because I'm afraid what they might say about me as a student. No,
So,
I had a great experience.
So you've been superintendent for how long?
Since July 1.
So just 6 months or so.
6 months.
Same time I've been interim president at Middlesex Community College. Now, whether you stay for 3 years or 10 years or for a lifetime, how will the schools be different for your having been superintendent?
I think it needs to start with that healthy balance. we're all going to push for academic achievement. We're going to push for better student performance, and I want to see students make those key academic gains. But every school in Meriden could make safe harbor. If we rip the heart and soul out of our schools, what would we be left with? I want students to feel challenged every day. I want them to feel supported. I know what I needed as a student. I want to make sure our school system provides that. I want to increase our parental and community involvement. I think any strong school system has a strong community commitment and a strong parental commitment as well. I also think we need to look for creative partnerships. We need to make sure we're a system that challenges all students, make sure that we have the supports that some of our students with specific needs require, but I also want to make sure that we're challenging our best and brightest. If we're going to be a quality school system, we really need to make sure we're providing what all students need. It's a difficult challenge.
What's the biggest challenge?
Biggest
I know
challenge is
you've
money.
been-
It's the same challenge. It's the budget, and it's getting people to
Now,
look.
you were mayor, so obviously you understand the budget. Do you have a different point of view now that you're superintendent?
No, my view has not changed. I've always felt a strong community requires a strong educational system and a strong public safety system. Your streets need to be safe. You need to provide a good education to your children. If you're doing that, your community has a fighting chance. So that has never changed. So where I'd always want to invest that money would be in public safety and education. I still want it to be invested there. My fear is that if those with the means choose to look at our system and say it doesn't have what my son or daughter require, and they leave Meriden, I can't afford, this will be a nice thing I say about my brother, I can't afford my brother and his wife, who can afford to live somewhere else, pulling their kids out of our system and leaving. We need them here. We need them to volunteer on our PTAs, to be involved. We need to make sure that they're delivering the right message to their sons and daughters every night at home. So I look at it as an opportunity here in the school system, and I think we have a great school system. The reason I wanted to come back, because this city has done everything for me. I can't thank my parents and the city of Meriden enough. They've given me every opportunity that anyone could ask for.
So how do you think, you've got two high school principals, right?
Right.
And I think one of them was the high school principal when you went through.
She was
Wasn't
actually
she was a teacher,
and she was actually my cooperating teacher when I student taught.
And if she were here, what would she say?
I think she would say she's not surprised that I'm in the position that I'm in. I think she would say I'm easy to work with, that the walls at the Board of Education building are coming down. I want people to work freely. I want them to be comfortable being themselves. In any job I've ever had, I don't want to be hired if they're not looking for who I am as a person. I need to be myself. I need to be comfortable with who I am every day.
And here comes the commercial. You are now the most junior faculty member I ever saw at Middlesex Community College. You are going to be offering a course at Middlesex Community College, right?
I am. I'm very excited. It's a family school relations class.
And there's the fire alarm right behind us. They must have heard what you were just saying. You're going to teach, it's one night a week?
It's one night a week, Wednesday nights, starting January 24th.
So anyone who would like to take a course with former mayor and superintendent of schools, Mark Benigni, this is your chance. Call the Meriden Center. This has been Middlesex Moments, and my guests have been John and Mark Benigni. Take a look at our website, mxcc.comnet, that's 2 M's, comnet.edu. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community. This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, Interim President of Middlesex Community College, and my guests today are John and Mark Benigni, the Benigni brothers from Meriden, and we've been talking about, we've been talking about their parents. John, tell me about your parents. One is retired, one not, I gather.
Yeah, my parents were both came from Meriden, and one is retired from 3M or CUNO here in Meriden, and my mom's a branch manager of New Alliance Bank in Wallingford. She's been in banking her whole career. I think her first...
So your mom is where the money is?
I'm going to say yes because I'm mom's favorite. I'll let Mark answer that, though, because I think he's dad's favorite, so...
So a serious question. The two of you obviously are highly accomplished. You're very active. Did you know as you were growing up that you were going to go to college, that you did. What was the atmosphere like at home?
I think the atmosphere was very supportive. We grew up in a loving home. Neither of my parents went to college. They married very young, and they're still in love, which is great for us. It's a perfect model. But they made sure that we understood that education mattered, and that education was going to be a key part of our life, and it was going to be the way that we would get ahead in life. And it's the same message I want to give students today that my own folks gave to me. But there wasn't pressure to be the best. There wasn't pressure to do any more than your own best. So, I think my brothers and I put our own spin on our education and our pursuits in life, but my parents were always there to support us, and I think that was the key component. They didn't care what we chose to do in life. They wanted us to be happy. They wanted us to believe in ourselves, and they wanted us to know that if you wanted to get ahead, education was the vehicle.
You said something really important, not just that education was important at home, but it was a loving home. And sadly, that's missing in a lot of places, I guess. But when you talk to successful people, you often find that they had a loving home that they came from. And obviously, they're trying to repeat that. Do you see that when you work in the YMCA?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, one of the things is that I think my parents instilled is not to have fear. We have everything. We have a loving family. We have support of each other and family that support us. So no matter what we try or no matter what we do, we're going to continue to have that support. I always say I have a lot of friends, but no friends greater than my family. And I think that's the most important thing. I do think it's missing a little bit in our communities that we serve, and we strive even together on some things to partnership between the Y and the Board of Education to assure we bring in families together and providing those support. And I think the Y is also a vehicle that where some of that support might be missing, that the Y is a vehicle where they can step in and try to provide that support and mentoring and different things like that. So
So there are your parents still living in town, of course. 3 sons. 2 are in education. One's a superintendent, one's an assistant superintendent. You're director of the Y in Meriden. How would they describe you? If I called them up.
Which one are they describing there, Mr. President?
Okay. Well, let's just talk of the 2 of you because the third brother is missing in action. How would they describe you? Mark, superintendent, how would they describe you?
Driven, passionate.
Do you drive them crazy occasionally?
Yes. I'm the type of person who I hate to lose. I'm a fierce competitor in what I do. Who I am, I wear on my sleeve. My emotions sometimes get the best of me, but there's no fooling. I believe I'm a transparent person. I believe in that type of leadership.
Were you like that as a teenager?
Yes. All right. He's going to share the story, so I better get it out now. We would go camping.
You tell your version, he'll tell his.
We would go camping as a family, and those were some of the greatest times. Really, you don't realize at that time that your brothers are going to become your best friends, but they do. And we'd always do these big kickball games, and you'd have to pick teams. And I never would pick my mom because she was an automatic out. So this became the running family joke that Mark wouldn't even pick his own mom for his team unless she could help him win. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, if the goal is to win, and mom's going to make it out every time. But John, he knew then, 20 years ago, this was how he was going to become her favorite. Mom, you could be on my team. Come right over. But my dad, I think, understood. And I think my other brother understood, but not the baby John. So that was my mom's funniest story. But my mom was always so supportive, and she's driven as well. She won't admit it, but my drive comes right from her. She took a banking program and should have went on to college had they not married so young. My mom lost her mom when she was young. Her dad was in and out of her life. Really, her older sisters raised her. My father was adopted. So they never had it easy, and they found each other and found a great life together. But my mom should have went to college. She loves to learn. She loves to challenge herself. She's participated in outside.
Is she a member of the Y?
Probably, because he probably makes them be a member.
All Benignis are members of the Y.
So I gave her what I thought was a natural answer. She was disappointed. She had taken some banking program, a class, and finished second in her class. And I said, well, Mom, why not first? And I think at that point, as much as she was ready to kill me, that's what was in her mind, and that would be what's in my mind. Let's do the best you can do, but never settle for less. So the drive I have comes from her. She may not admit that or know it.
I would agree.
But that's the case. She wants to be the best at everything she does.
Mm-hmm. Well,
in hard work. My mom and my dad are just plain and simple. They're about hard work, dedication, and hard work. And if they fall short, they know they have each other. Like I said.
So between the 3 sons, they have 9 grandchildren, right?
9 grandchildren.
How do they interact with their grandchildren? What's their relationship with their grandchildren? When the 3 of you go off someplace and they're left with their grandchildren, well,
I don't know if we can leave them with all 9.
Imagine that. What happens?
I think they're wonderful grandparents, just as they were wonderful parents. I think our children like being with their grandparents because they make you feel good about yourself. So they do that for our kids as well. To have them watch all 9.
They have a hard time with all 4 of mine.
So the age range of the 9 grandchildren is what?
18 months up to 9 is Jackson? 9. 9 years old. So 18 months. My twin boys are 18 months, and my oldest brother Brian's oldest is 9 years old. So that's close together.
And have you ever left the grandchildren, all 9 grandchildren, with their grandparents, even for 5 minutes?
Maybe for 5 minutes, but any longer than that would be a problem.
No.
They're good at watching. John has 2 daughters who get along very well with my children, and they actually play sometimes better if you had all. Sometimes it's easier to watch John's oldest 2 and my 2 together than just my 2 or just his, because they play. Then they have each other to play. But more than that, 4 or 5, hey, I struggle to handle my 2. I can't imagine watching 9.
I said my dad is retired, which he is, but he does a lot of work for me at the Y. He'll volunteer, he'll do things like that. And not only that, I think his real job
You
is
get your dad to volunteer?
Absolutely.
You don't pay him out of your salary?
He drives a bus and makes a few bucks, doesn't he?
Yeah, maybe a few here or there, but it's a lot of volunteer work for my dad. He has the time, and on top of that, he's the number one person that I would say me or Mark or Brian call when we're in need to pick up a child, or they need to go somewhere and we can't make it because we have an important meeting. I think my dad in my Y career currently has been the biggest supporter because it allows me to do both things: be good at my Y career, but also continue to be a great parent. And both are very important to me.
Now, are your grandparents aware that they're role models? I mean, here they have 3 prominent, well-known, successful sons, and a lot of it comes out of not a lot of money, but a lot of love and commitment and some drive, yes. Are they aware of what they've created?
I think they're very proud. I really do. I think they're very proud. I don't know if they'll ever...
They're simple folks. It wasn't about a job. My mom could care less about a degree status, a job title, or any of that. But obviously, when people go and say, "Oh, I met your son," or it's great things Mark's doing in the community, or it's great things John's doing, or hey, my child attended middle school and met Brian. What a great guy. My mom can't help but glow, and my dad as well. And I think as they get older, and they look back on things, they say, hey, you know what? We did a pretty good job with these 3 guys.
And what are their hopes of their grandchildren? I mean, the oldest is 9 at this point, but time flies. What do you think are their hopes for... Maybe you've never talked to them about it. What are their hopes of their grandchildren?
I think their hopes are that, and it's more of a hope for the world, that it doesn't become so competitive. I think they want our kids to be happy. And I think my parents have the same healthy balance that I'm preaching for our school system between pushing for academic performance and also pushing to make sure that the heart and soul is in the school as well. So I think they want that balance between pushing for academic success and also being happy.
Now, am I hearing a cell phone? That's probably your stockbroker.
I'm gonna blame
Mr.
that.
Superintendent.
I'm gonna blame that on Mark.
That is absolutely not my cell phone ring. I wouldn't choose a ring like that, President.
Okay. Well, I think our listeners can make their own judgment. This is Middlesex Moments. I'm Jonathan Daube, and we'll be back momentarily.